Ай, надеюсь, мы вернулись.
Hey, how about we go for a nice meal sometime? My treat, of course.
Ну, если, Тома, ты угощаешь, то 100% да. Без обсуждений. О, вот это дали. Так, мастерство стихий, базовая атака. Тайный язык ветра, стоп после войны по противнику или активация. Сила атаки повышается на 12%, а мастерство стихий на 4%. Интересно, это для кого? Не для Дэи же? Па. А погоди, ко мне что ли держишь? Ой, правда, ко мне вверх. Ой, это что произошло здесь? Типик. Да ладно, я вообще-то нажал кнопку. Да. Но это хотя бы не сильно мне мешался. Если тот, блин, просто бегал там же, где и я, то это хотя бы это... Найс. 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 О боже мой, найс. Jesus fucking Christ, найс. О май fucking god, найс. О, остановите меня, семеро. Да вы просто, о боже. Охренеть. Они тупо за все задания архонтов сейчас выдадут награду. Вау. Хрена не надавали на баннерды. Ты посмотри на это великолепие. Да, ты чувствуешь, когда я раньше, блин, переживал, что мне не хватает примок на персонажа, то теперь ты посмотри, сколько они только что дали. Мы сделали 2 ролла, да? То есть они 28 примок они дали. Нет, 20, наверное, 20. Хотя, может быть, и нечетное количество дали. Боинг. 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 О, мне особую фотокамеру дали. Кстати, а Тимей уже сейчас заигрывает с этой? Магай... Нет, Магай все еще не это. Вот это реально обязательно делать. Она у меня в инвентаре, просто вызовите ее. Ну в чем проблема? Что надо сделать? Ничего? Возьми до 17.
I feel like there's...
Используй персонажа из Манштада.
Something I forgot
Мне
to
наверх надо
do.
залезть?
I tidied the courtyard, put the tea on. It's probably just my mind playing tricks on me. Yeah.
Кстати, да, можно музычку тут включить уже. То есть квестов уже больше нету. Ага. Nora says goodbye. Они моего мальчика сделали грязно. То, что он, блин, родом из Манштада, по барабану, да? На снимке должен быть персонаж, персонаж использует элементальный навык. Ой, нахрена я сюда подошел. Ужасная фотка вышла. Так, ну здесь получается мы кончили. Так что идем эти делать. Так, снова выключаем музыку. Не знаю, зачем я ее включил. Так, идем. Да, вот сначала любовь всей нашей жизни. Опа. Знаете что? За то, что я начал ее свидание с ней. 10 роллов. О, Бенни. О, Брамбара. Идеально. Так. Так, Беннет у меня теперь получается c5, правильно? Угу. И последним остается это... Инфузии пирой, да. Это будет довольно не знаю. Я, наверное, буду все-таки повышать. А, Большой базар! Я не прочитал. Кавабанга! Дехя, любовь моя, ты где? Но его нет в списке. Пожалуйста, Пайма, я тебя умоляю, скажи в бизнес-список. Блин. Но они такую охрененную отсылку потеряли в бизнес-список. Неужели это Дехя и... Диньярзада?
I said I was going to resign from being her bodyguard, not that our friendship was over. We're still the best of friends. The Homayanis also still post jobs from time to time. Their pay is always generous, so me and the other mercs never pass them up.
То есть ты не работаешь телохранителем, но ты все равно на нее работаешь. Гениально.
I told Dea to just stay at our place when she took one of those jobs a few days ago. My parents were delighted. They even said that it always felt like we were missing someone whenever Dea wasn't around.
О,
That sounds like something they would say, all right. They're always so welcoming. Anyway, the job is already taken care of, so I was gonna head back to the brigade as soon as I finished a little shopping.
You can stay for as many days as you want, Dea. Father hasn't even gotten around to treating.
You know I'm not the kind of person to stay put in one place like that, my lady.
What? She said they'll treat you to the best dishes! I can't believe you can still refuse that!
But wait. Didn't you say last time that you would take me? There are so many places I still.
I'm sorry, my lady, but no can do. There's still a few things I need to take care.
Oh, come on. Not this again. That's also what you said last.
I know, I'm sorry. Just give me some more time.
All right, fine. To be perfectly honest, it's not that I wanted to go, it's more like ever since you first set foot on the estate a few days ago, have you been delaying our trip because you've run into some kind of trouble?
Nah, are you kidding? You're worrying too much.
Would you swear on that? Friends shouldn't lie to each other, you know. I wouldn't pry any further if you're. But if something really is bothering you.
Oh, looks like Junior's was onto something.
You're too perceptive, my lady. I just thought that nothing good could come out of telling you about the mercenary life is a dog-eat-dog world where Mora reigns supreme. Everything
That doesn't change anything about what I just said, though. We're still friends, and I can only support you if I understand.
My lady. All right, I'll share what I know. Let's go somewhere else. Okay,
let's go.
let's talk here. Just try
Так,
not
пойду
to draw
тарелку
any
унесу и сейчас вернусь.
attention. As you may already know, the Eremites have both a lot of mercenaries and a complex organizational My brigade is called the Blazing Beasts. We're not a large group, but every member... However, not all Eremite brigades are like mine. Some are willing to cross all kinds of lines for...
Deshret's relics? Judging from the name, they must really look up to...
Yep, you got it. I've heard that you've already crossed paths with Ain al-Akmar.
Oh, you mean the group that tried to sell us the divine knowledge capsule? Yeah, they weren't friendly at all.
Deshret's relics is composed of many smaller brigades like Ain al-Akmar. On any other day, I would want nothing to do with them. Unfortunately, though,
Dakan?
I think it means beard or something. Believe me, it's a really stupid name. I found it insufferable. Anyway, the real issue is that Dakan al-Akmar is led by my...
Say what now?
I think
See,
I'm
what
starting
now?
to understand your anxiety now.
I won't go into details, my lady, but they've been involved in a lot of...
Hundreds?
Yep. The scenes tend to be quite gruesome, too. They strip the victims of all their valuables before murdering. Not only have they targeted merchant caravans and ordinary...
That's beyond terrible. They won't even...
I don't know how Deshret's relic sees it. All I do know is that Dakan al-Akmar has become more and more aggressive over the last few years. If I don't do something about them, then even my brigade or the people of Aru... I just wish I knew what's driven him to do this.
Yeah. How can your father...
I don't know. People change. He's always been pretty pathetic.
That's setting the bar pretty low.
I mean, if he was even remotely decent, then why would I have to leave the brigade and cut all ties with him? He was loud and foolish, with no real sense of purpose. Instead of doing anything useful, he spent most of his time drinking. Of course, the other brigade
прям
members
описание
were
меня.
just like him. Their ruckus would go on night after night.
Sounds like a nightmare.
What about your mother?
Unfortunately, I never knew my mother. It's all right, my lady.
Серьезно, и
It's
ты
pretty
этого
common
не
in
знала?
mercenary circles. Didn't I mention that my father was chasing after women? I was the result of one of... He told me that he wasn't sure who my mother was. And he'd say, "You'll be fine as long as you remember to stick with Dad." But even then, he left most of the parenting to the brigade. The one thing I do... The problem was that he
Реально
had
мое
terrible
описание меня.
taste. He only knew a few stories. And they were tales of desert warriors defeating dragons in the forest, or stories of mercenaries rescuing princesses from rebel armies.
Sounds like your typical fairy...
More or less, yeah. They were interesting maybe the first or second time. He seemed to think those stories were the best things ever, though. He was so into them that he'd call the whole brigade over and make them... Even the toys he gave me would all be story props. I'd get It was only much later when I realized that the shows were more for him than they ever were for me.
What an interesting guy.
Yeah, I've always found him pretty childish. But that was something I could just shrug off until I grew up and learned the true face of looting, blackmail, violence, and fraud. They not only accepted such heinous acts, they would even openly boast about them. No one in the brigade was any kind of hero. Instead, my father and... Did they really think that as long as they didn't do any of that...
I think I can understand your feelings.
Yeah, but don't worry, my lady. It's all water under the bridge to me now. I had a huge argument with my father, and I'm not investigating them due to any bitter feelings I still have towards my father. I just want to protect those that are close to me. Yeah, I told the boys to gather as much information as they could. Most of the reports concern violent incidents, but there's...
I see. But isn't this...
It is, but every mercenary lives life on the edge. It's a lifestyle that I enjoy.
That may be true, but it'll be impossible for those who care.
Well, now you get why I didn't want to share any of this with you.
What should we do? They both have valid concerns.
Huh? But there's no need for you to...
Well, he's super tough, so if he went into the desert with you, then Paimon bets the problem will be solved in no time.
I'm inclined to agree. I'd feel a lot more at ease. I'll wait for news from you in the city until then. Please, stay...
I'm honored that you care so much for me, my lady. All right, then let's get moving. Our first stop will be...
О, познакомимся с друзьями Ды. Это хорошее начало. Что-то хочу еще раз заролить. То что-то, но реально у нас не выходит стрим такой, так что просто ролим. Эх, снова не повезло. Это себе неплохо. Брамбара. Тоже, в принципе, неплохо. Только я бы Калии хотел. Мне нравится ее использовать как дендро персонажа. Караван ребят.
Hey, Dea, you're back. Are these two friends of yours?
У тебя всего 2 стрелы, серьезно?
Likewise. Anyway, since we've got a newcomer, let me fill you in on what the they've become extremely aggressive. Apparently, they even attack other relics brigades, just the same as any other mercenary brigade.
Even the most ferocious beasts still protect their own. It's
That's right. Once they've collected enough loot off the other mercenaries, a portion of their profits is immediately exchanged.
That's terrible!
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder why they're so desperate for more. A few days ago, Isham and I trailed them for a while, and even disguised ourselves as merchants to conduct trade with them. We were able to learn, rather than saying they're out to plunder and hoard Mora, it'd probably be more—
Wait, a power struggle?
You heard me right. The vast majority of their victims are If their only goal was Mora, they could have gone after anybody. The targeted nature of their attacks points to a power struggle between the different brigades within the relics. That's the only— Unfortunately, we weren't able to find out anything more specific. Oh, one last thing we discovered was that over the past few years, as the Khan al-Ahmar became more and more active, Deshret's relics as a whole became—
Sounds mighty strange to me too. Gotta say though, I didn't expect you to go on a whole undercover mission during the few days I was gone.
Nah, it was nothing. We're just as concerned about the situation as you are.
What he said. Besides, Dea, haven't you done more dangerous things than all—
Yeah. And while they went to talk with Khan al-Ahmar, I took a look at the last camp. Any survivors of the attack were already long gone.
Ah, Hisham and Khalaf.
О,
Here
Халаф.
too.
Халаф. Майшалlah, брата.
We rushed over as soon as we saw you come into Caravan Rebat. Although this new friend of yours looks a little green behind the ear, now that we know you'll have a capable partner with you, we can also rest—
Hey, what about Paimon?
Oh,
Of course! Paimon is the traveler's—
oh. In that case, then—
Don't underestimate—
Don't worry about her. She may look tiny and helpless, but even if she had only survived on sheer luck, then that alone would still make her quite formidable.
I had no idea.
Oh, one other thing, Dea. When you're free, why don't you update the deputy about your upcoming schedule? We held another recruitment event a few days ago, but everyone only came to see the Flame Main. You weren't around at the time, so people were pretty disappointed to only find our crew of— The deputy put a lot of effort into the event, but it was basically for nothing. Only a few people chose to stay, and that really—
Sorry to hear that. I'll be sure to bring him some great liquor next time. I left in a hurry and I couldn't make it back in—
Gotta admit, I can understand their disappointment, though. You're our brigade. Now, if only the deputy could figure out a way to bring a few more smoking hot members.
Keep dreaming. Remember the last time I invited a couple gals into the brigade? You all just froze up with your mouths gaping. The awkward silence and weird expressions left quite the impression on them. They were originally interested in joining us, but after that—
Hey, didn't we agree to never bring—
Huh? Wait, are you serious?
I don't think you were part of the brigade.
Are you kidding me? I missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment like that, and you weren't even gonna tell me?
All right. We can tell you about it later.
Hey, don't you try to change the subject. You and Hisham get your butts over here.
Я неаналогичный.
Oh wait,
More or less. There aren't many rules or graces when it comes to mercenaries. We're used to just speaking our minds. If someone starts getting under your skin, you just yell right back at them. And if that doesn't— But we also don't tend to take many things too seriously. Being direct and getting it all out of your system as soon as... That's also why I never spare their feelings when I talk to them. If I want to laugh, I'll laugh. If I'm angry, then I'll unload on them. Hey, knuckleheads! Can you at least tell me the rest of the intel?
Yeah, you hear her, Holof? Told you we gotta focus on the investigation first. I drew up a map.
Набросала.
Right here is the spot. There you'll find the merchant. All you gotta do is wait and ambush them in the evening.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Be sure to pass my...
Will do. You stay safe.
И у меня опять интернет, да, это барахлит. Нет, все нормально. 6. 6. 6. 6. 6.
This should be the place. Let's find a spot to hide. It's gonna come down to a fight one way or another. So...
No need to worry. He knows.
I'm not worried about that. What I meant is that we probably shouldn't go too hard on the enemy.
Фирменный звук где-то тулюлюнь. Не, опять упустили такую возможность.
Ah, here they come. You ready? Let's not give them a chance to react. And
Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Эй, братва!
Feeling lucky today.
Не знаю, чем она людям не нравится. Вполне себе круто. Вполне себе хороший урон. С саппортами. А, ну да, она не работает с некоторыми саппортами, точно.
You're the flame main.
good. That saves me an introduction. All right, time for a little talk.
You know the code of being a mercenary just like everyone else. The first rule is to never...
That might have worked on an amateur, but I know you're just looking to protect your reputation. Think about it, though. What's your reputation worth if you won't have the other tools you need to succeed? You've got 5 seconds. You might want to think twice about how much you're...
Whoa!
I'm not joking around. We can do this the easy way or the painful way. 2 seconds!
I'll save you the trouble.
The fuck?
Are you crazy? He tried to bite off his own tongue. Quick, search the area for any first aid. I definitely didn't expect him to go that far. Thankfully, the wound was...
What? Why would he...
I just wanted to test his mettle. You can get a lot of... I didn't expect him to be willing to go through so much pain just to deny...
Well, he's out cold for now. We could wait for him to wake up, but maybe...
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be a waste of time to interrogate him again after that. There are lots of goods around here. I'm really sorry.
Не, что у нас тут? Так, кроме оружия, много лекарств и медов. Да, тем, кто жрется нелегко. Так, понятно. Здесь у нас что? Продукты, вода и другие товары. Первые. Нет ничего интересного. Понятно.
We found a piece of paper with a bunch of names on it.
Let me take a look. If this really is a merchant caravan... Yep. I see an entry for Dakana Lakmar right here. Kusela, Idrisi, Bashar, and Takriti. All familiar names. Dakana Lakmar has been trading for a hefty supply of food, weapons, and medicine. This caravan is just one link in their logistics chain. Once in the rainforest, the caravan will exchange. That person will then pack the caravan full of necessary goods, which will then be brought right back. Wait, why is there no Mora value recorded for the...
No value?
Yeah, every transaction before the last one was marked with an exact amount of Mora, but the final one, where they paid for... perhaps. But they couldn't have known how much they would make off selling. Anyway, the next part's the records of the goods themselves. There are a lot of... Huh?
What's wrong?
Shazamon Homayani?
Homoyani? You mean Dunyarzad's,
I'd be surprised to find someone with the exact same first and last name. Shazamon Homayani is just... What the heck is going on here? I'm sorry, you're right. I'll consider what but what this piece of paper confirms is that the Homayani...
What if the Homayanis have been kept in the dark and don't know they've been trading with Dekhan?
That's a possibility, but if that was the case, why is this They could have just as easily bought goods such as food and medicine directly from Caravan Rebot or Port Ormos. Yeah, funding violence and looting. The brigade gets the...
But why would he do something like...
I honestly have no idea. I've been to their estate many times, and the only potentially large expenditure I could think of would be the treatment cost for Dunyarzad's Elazar. But that's still just a speculation. I don't think the master would stoop so low to make Mora. You're probably right. I know my lady's personality.
But what should we do now? All we found is just another mystery.
If you ask me, I'm not worried. It's too early to make a verdict yet. Let's go find my lady again. We'll tell her everything. If we're lucky, we can not only figure out the mystery of this paper...
Dia, are you sure this is the best decision?
I've considered that possibility. But even still, she showed genuine concern for me when we first brought up the topic. I can't That's not how I deal with people.
You're right. Paimon wants to trust Dunyarzad too.
Yeah. Let's pay another...
На самом деле, на удивительно, какие разные подходы, да, у персонажей. То есть Дея идет просто прямо, тогда как, например, тот же Альхейтам, он никогда не раскрывал до конца своей карты и сначала все 3 раза проверял. Я бы, наверное, тоже выбрал больше подход Деи. Сразу же спрашивать у нужных людей.
We're back, my lady.
Oh, you're back a lot sooner than I expected. You mustn't have...
Actually, we are still investigating.
I see. The clues you found...
Something like that.
You all look a little dispirited. Why don't you discuss it with me?
It's okay, my lady. It's not so much about me being upset.
So something is wrong. Even the Traveler. On any other day, Paimon would have already waved to me with a... So tell...
My lady, please prepare your...
The Master. Okay. I understand. My father...
Yeah, it makes as little sense to us as it does. I've never doubted the Master's integrity, so I'm having a real hard time. Maybe he's not actually aware of the full story and just stumbled into the deal by accident.
I can't help but agree with the Traveler.
Huh? You mean you feel that...
Thank you for sharing all this info. Since you've told me everything you know, I should also... In the past, I thought that my father hired a bodyguard for me, so... However, there are plenty of capable mercenaries in the Corps of 30.
About that. Well, the Homayanis really needed bodyguards, so... Later, the Master told me that I was one of the best mercenaries he'd ever seen, and that I should stick around. He offered me a pile of Mora, so...
Well, but that didn't really answer my question.
Maybe the Corps of 30 just didn't have anyone available, or maybe... I think I get what you're saying. You think none of this would...
Precisely. At first glance, nothing seemed strange or out of place. If my father had always been in contact with Dekhan al-Akmar, then it would make sense for him to...
You mean... The goal all along was to get...
No, that's too much of a stretch. I cut all ties with my...
But that still doesn't rule out the possibility that you...
So, the Master was not likely an innocent victim in all of this?
Sorry we put all this on you so suddenly.
It's okay, Paimon. I should actually be thanking you. Regardless of his reasons, if my father has truly been funding a violent...
But is that My father has committed many atrocities and deserves all the punishment that he has coming to him. However, the Homiyani family has treated me with... If we decide to investigate this further, we could end up implicating the entire...
Tia.
It's alright, Dia. If anyone were to ask, you could always just say that.
You don't have to do that, my lady. I'm not conflicted because I'm a...
Hey, it's still too early to give up hope. What was the thing about friendship again? Right, yeah, trust. Besides, there's no point on getting all riled up before we've confirmed all the facts.
Thank you, everyone. That makes a lot of sense. In which case, my lady, could you ask...
Sure thing. I also hope he'll be able to give us.
Usual, please?
Usual, please? Usual place, наверное, базар. А нет, это балкон. Это моя первая мысль была. Это была моя первая мысль. Но я подумал, ну нет, балкон слишком странно, чтобы для такой встречи. Поэтому, наверное, базар. Он? А, ну да, нам же его показывают.
Yes, my daughter has mentioned, but we may skip all the pleasantries.
Well, we wanted to bring this transaction record to your attention.
So, that's what you found?
If you wouldn't mind, we'd like an
Well, it's a long and difficult. What I do know, though, dear, is that the truth will bring you...
Wait.
Yes, I understand perfectly why you came to see me. And I am touched by your collective, but knowledge always comes at a price. Your father, Kusela, and I both believed that. Of course, you have the right to seek. The facts of this matter may reduce everything you've built for yourself into... If you must proceed, then Kusela's heartfelt efforts will...
His heartfelt efforts? I've made it this far in life without a single drop of my father's... I have my own ideals and ways of looking at the world, as well as people and causes that I've chosen to... I came here today to support you as the head of the Homiyani.
I understand. Our family once needed to take a trip to the desert when Dunyarzad was just a baby. They had superior numbers and quickly overpowered our bodyguards. When all those Eremites were Kusela's men told me that the attackers were Eremite mercenaries, just like themselves. Kusela was grinning and walked over to play with baby Dunyarzad. She was startled by his unfamiliar...
Really?
He said that he had no particular reason to help us. He just took pity on us. We started talking about our children, and I sensed that to repay his kindness. I hired his brigade to help out at our...
So, that's what happened.
It was many years before I saw him again. I almost didn't recognize him the next time he came knocking on my door.
Tom?
The man I knew to be strong and healthy had been reduced.
So, what happened to him? He was perfect.
I'm not too sure myself. The only thing that didn't change was he then suddenly asked me if Dunyarzad, now that she had grown. At the time, Dunyarzad was going through a particularly... But he kept coming back to the topic. Come on, it never hurts to... I was completely lost at first. Until he recommended the blazing...
So he was the one who
Indeed. He didn't say it out loud, but it was clear that he saw Deshret's relics as an evil group who would eventually corrupt every member in their ranks. He was already beyond redemption, but he hoped that he would be able to detach. If Dia could stay in my house and keep working as a bodyguard, then...
And that's why you offered her such...
Yes, but not just because of that. From the moment that he asked me for that favor, And that's also why I tried to persuade you to stay when you asked for permission to leave. I was willing to Kusela saved my daughter and I all those years ago in the desert. I could never...
He was always like that. Acting like he's oh so...
Kusela said that he'd reimburse me for a portion of Dia's fees. I refused to take any more. Eventually, I just accepted them as a token of his gratitude. And that went on for a while, and the letter contained a request to help him buy food.
Wait! Isn't that around the time that Decano...
That's right. When I started to hear some nasty rumors, But by then, he was no longer receptive to my requests to talk. If I had to guess, It's probably because he doesn't want to put Dia. That thought occurred to me as well. I figured that after some deliberation, I decided to send him some food and medicine. I turned down all. I am aware that even such a reduced gesture of support could lead to others. In the end, it probably was the wrong decision. I plugged my.
If you can, please tell me where. None of the things he's doing right now make any sense if he's just trying to keep me from getting tangled up in. If all he wants to do is steer clear of me, then maybe he shouldn't have.
Oh no, Dia.
I'm just angry because I can't wrap my head around any of his actions. I don't know. I really don't know. But I guess you do have a point. We haven't uncovered the whole truth yet.
I'll do my best to help. Of course, I don't know Kusela's exact whereabouts. Outside of supplying his brigade with some. However, there's a man on the list named Jawed. He used to be a mercenary in the desert and is now a member of the Corps of. He's responsible for supplying weapons and liaising with the Deccan. I've heard that he likes to have a few drinks alone and enjoy the cool wind at
Что
night
с ним
outside
говорит?
the
Мне надо
tavern.
самому догадаться?
Maybe you'll be able to find him there.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
I'll stay and be with my father here. To be honest, my father has indeed done something wrong, but I feel like our only course of action is.
Yes. It's time to face.
О, ну вот, его посадят. Вечером найдите наемника около таверны. Вечером. А что в этой игре считается вечером? Наверное, значок закатного солнца перед ночью, да? Кажется, он. Джавад, привет, Джавад. А мы тебя ищем.
Huh? Who are you guys?
Твой ночной
I
кошмар.
know what you've been up to. Smuggling weapons to violent brigades in the desert while working for.
Shh! Keep your voice down. How do you know all that? Come with me. We should take this elsewhere. This place should do. All right. Back to my.
Don't worry about that for now. You know what kind of punishment you'll face.
Wait. There's no need to jump the gun.
So what's in it for you anyway?
Well, I was a little tight on money at the time, and I weighed it in my mind, and I couldn't find a reason to turn the opportunity down.
Let me tell you how it is. We're investigating Deccan. If you provide some help for us, then we might just.
Hey, why don't we discuss this a little first? Listen.
Shut it. My patience is running out. You should know when a mercenary.
All right, sheesh. But you gotta promise you'll put. They're always on the move. Here's the spot they were at the last time I made my delivery to the desert. Feel free to go have a look. I'm just telling you though, it's.
Sure. And then you can forget about.
Hey, come on.
Really? And how do I know you're not leading us straight into a trap? Don't forget, you're the.
All right, I get it. Why don't you go take a look, and if they're not.
Now that's more like it. Let's move. And as for you, try to stick around the city until we get back.
О, мы его обидели.
Don't worry.
Давай. Обидели бедолагу. У него перед глазами вся жизнь сейчас пробегает. Он явно это понимает, что все. Ему кирдык коса. Кирдык башка, да, или как там говорилось. Да, тут ничего нет. Тут было, а теперь ничего нет.
Seems like we're in luck.
А нет? Не
That
здесь?
should be their camp. Let's go. We'll finally get to the bottom of this ourselves.
Погнали.
I'm here to see Kusela. Tell him to get out here.
Dear, why are you here?
Нормальный у него урон. То есть не великолепный, я уверен, что его можно это подразогнать. Разработчики обожают это. Я не знаю почему, но хуеверсы обожают почему-то занижать персонажей во время тестовых этих.
Let's get it on! Ha! Ha!
I'll take my leave.
Gloves off! Haven't you all done enough?
So are you also here to stop us?
Stay out of this. It's got nothing to do with you.
Let's get it on!
Ну да, я бы сказал, что она наносит урон медленновато. Вообще мне надо, кстати, прочитать, как работают ее способности. Так, Дехя принимает различные приемы, соответственно, боевое искусство зависит от ситуации на поле боя. Неприколимое так. Активируется Дехя, если на поле боя нет созданной ей огненной защиты. Вместо пира Роль площадь создает зону. Куда? Сфера пламени. Так, активируется Дехя, если на поле боя существует созданная Дехя выполняет атаку прошли, нанося первый урон по площади, создает огненная. Во время существования одной огненной сфера пламени может использоваться только один раз. Особенно, когда враги в ее области получают урон, огненная зелье совершает совместную атаку и наносит им первый. А, ну в принципе понятно, да. То есть да, в принципе я правильно делаю. Благодаря посредством или головной отказ отзывает огненное зрелище, получает их урон, если она принимает урон крови алой на 6%. Он у нее, да, на самом деле очень сложно, непонятно. То есть то, что я понимаю, она это получает сама по себе урон. Не.
She's so strong.
Enough fighting. We all know each other, and I don't want to take. Just bring Kusela to me. Did you understand a single word I just said?
All right, everyone, let's all just calm down. Dehya. He died a long time ago.
What?
Seems like you've been out of the loop for a while. Guess that's for the best, though.
When did he die? What happened?
A few years ago, Kusela broke up Dakan al-Ahmar and went to the Deshret's relics head.
So is that when you guys started acting up?
We would prefer to call it taking revenge. Every last person in Deshret's relics must pay in blood for what they did.
Let me start from the beginning. Dehya, do you know how the head of the relics...
Overwhelming strength and unquestionable authority?
Those were a part of it, yes. But just those on their own weren't enough. They had another tool at their disposal. Regardless of whether they joined by their own will or were coerced, every person in Deshret's whether it be their deepest sin, some unforgivable act, or their most immoral exploit, the record served both as a symbol of loyalty and the perfect material for blackmail. That's precisely it. Every one of us have a record. Me, Bashar, Tikriti, but you, Dia. You were never asked to provide a record, were you?
I never even knew this was a
You were probably the only person in all of Deshret's relics who
Ever since you were born, Boss had been trying to shield you from this organization. Not only that, but he also banned all of us from committing any nefarious acts. He said he'd take care of the dues, but in the end, he was just an ordinary person. He was forced to go to headquarters again and again to account for missed dues and incomplete records.
We all knew he was doing that for you. He wanted to get you out of this world, no matter what it took.
And that's why he became a shell of himself and couldn't walk without a cane.
Wait, but that doesn't make any sense.
Because you were too young at the time. How would you ever tell between wounds from a beating and wounds from battle? When you left home after that final argument with him, he seemed to age by a decade overnight. Even his hair was...
So, even the blazing beast...
Yep. It was all his doing. Had he not arranged them to come to you, you probably...
A few years ago, Boss said he needed to make another trip to headquarters. He was already pretty weak then. I suggested that he hand the role of leadership over to me, but he said there was no longer any need. His words made no sense to me. But that night, we heard that a massive fire tore through headquarters and razed everyone's records to ash.
Красава.
Everyone gained their freedom that night. Many members fled. Not just from our... But how could we leave with a clear conscience? All of us.
The boss can't have just died for nothing. Those heartless jerks at headquarters took...
From that point on, the sole purpose of the big fire that Boss started was quite a blow to headquarters' strength. It's given us the even though we're outnumbered, we vowed to see our revenge through to the very end. There were people from headquarters who changed their names and went into hiding. Some fled to other brigades, but we won't let any of them escape our...
We've suffered plenty of losses as well. To keep going, all we can do is exchange our loot from Mora, and then use that to get supplies. We forged Boss's handwriting and sent out many letters to his former friends. But we were also able to attract many mercenaries who shared our goal. We've endured unspeakable... Deshret's relics have become weaker and weaker, and now we finally have an opportunity...
Paimon doesn't know what to say anymore.
We do know right from wrong, but we were sinners from the very beginning. We do not... Boss always loved his old-fashioned hero stories. Those tales... We used to always laugh at him for it. But in the end, he really... As for me, I never considered myself a hero. We're all the lowest, but... Maybe those hero stories he liked foreshadowed everything that was to come. The spirit of the hero... Maybe we were all just acting along with the play in the beginning. But as we acted the parts and... I'm sorry, Dia. I know you always found us insufferable ever...
О, это так
I'll
мило.
go with you.
Huh? Dia?
I grew up with these guys, and I know they're not bad people. It's just that all I know is that Deshret's relics must be... Furthermore, I want to go see the place for myself. I know you don't want to get involved in this, so there's no need for you to tag along.
Да куда ты от меня денешься теперь?
Yeah. Paimon feels like we'd only regret...
Thank you.
I bet Boss would lose his mind.
Considering all the losses and injuries we sustained, we can't afford to...
He can think whatever he wants, but the fact is...
Неплохой поворотик. Мы можем 10 роллов за это получить. Все еще одно раза. Чё, Б на С6? О, ржавой. Где он мне не нужен? Самое забавное, что я уже сделал сколько-то роллов, и я все еще не потратил своих примаджемок. Вы поняли, да? Вы поняли, да? Я все еще не потратил ни единственной примаджемки. Надо бы как туда попасть. Нет, там будет проще. А, погоди, это... А, не, Я Котя, я Котя, я Котя, Бармотя, я Котя, я Котя, Котя Бармотя, Котя Бармотя, Котя Бармотя, Котя, Котя, Котя обормотя, я Котя обормотя, Котя обормотя, мы Коти обормотим, мы Коти обормотим, и Коти, и Коти, и Коти обормотим, Коти, 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 Коти обормотим, мотим, обор, моти-ти-ти-тим. Коти обормоти, мы коти обормоти, мы коти обормоти, коти обормоти, ой, а коти обормоти, а что ж поделать нам? У нас такая тут тоска. Коти обормоти, коти обормоти, коти обормоти, ко-ко-ко-ко, коти. Так, туда. О, тут это. У меня есть интересный ключ. Воу! О, ключ, как ты могуч, влюблен я по уши. О, ключ, ты же так могуч. Меня убивает этого. Так, есть у меня ключ? Нет, нету. Ну и в жопу его.
Mind be purged, world be saved.
Котя, Бармотя. О, милый котя. Да блин, да в смысле? О, милый котя, какой ты обормотя. О, милый котя, 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 какой ты обормотя, какой ты обормотя, словно котик мой. О, котя, 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 какой ты обормотя, какой ты славный котик, люблю тебя всем сердцем. На-на-на-на-на-на, ай-на-ри-на-рина, ай-на-ри-на-рина, ай-на-ри-на-ри, а котя, 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 котя обормотя, котя любит обормотя, котя любит обормотить, котя обормотя, котя, 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 котя. Котя, Котя. Котя,
We sure didn't run into much trouble on the way here.
Котя, Котя, Рабармотя, и Котя славный мой, и Котя нежный мой, а Котя, 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 Котя обормотя, а Котя, 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 Котя обормотя, а-на-на-на-на-на, ай-на-на-на-на, ай-на-ри-на-на-на, ай-на-ри-на-на-на, а-на-на-на-на, а-на-на-на-на, ай-на-ри-на-на-на. И свет погаснет, словно в небе нет. Ух ты.
Paimon didn't expect it to look like this on the inside.
They should all be holed up in here. Don't know how many people they've got.
Who cares? We'll round up all of them.
Still, we should be careful. Even if they've only got one shot left, it could still take.
Yeah. We'll know what they're really capable of once we've landed some. Deshret's relics may have been a force to be reckoned with before.
Yeah, they don't stand a chance with you here.
Рип кто-то. Привет, девочки.
Happy to apply. Now you shall perish.
Ну ладно, сойдет. С рейдом она неплохо работает. А, еще не все.
Propagate. Whirling snow. Embrace the ice.
Check this out. I got you covered.
Gloves off.
Take that. Neat. Neat. Don't get too close.
Let's get it on.
Welcome, welcome.
Scatter.
Да, блять.
Take flight.
Check this out. Tricks up your sleeve.
I'm getting sick.
Here's backup.
Inazuma shines eternal. Shine down.
This way, follow me. We're almost there.
We almost there. Ха! По-моему, нас ведут в ловушку. Уж очень как-то все подозрительно выглядит.
They went charging ahead without checking for any traps.
А вот ловушка.
You guys okay?
It seems like we just got trapped in here.
Watch out, the enemy's coming from ahead.
Well, now that things have come to this,
Don't worry about us. We knew something like this could happen. Let's go! We can't let the boss stab.
Let's check if there's another way. The sooner we can make.
Let's see. I think I see a way through over there, but it's being blocked by something.
Okay, let's go.
The fuck is it? А, понял. Изи. Окей, вот эта загадка неплохая, вот это было интересно. И не слишком сложная, и не слишком легкая.
Propagate.
My apologies. Kamisato art. Sumetsu.
О, она так красиво это делает. Тогда. Новые квесты, новый персонаж, прочее. Ты думаешь, почему у меня вон роллы висят?
Another mechanism like the one before.
То есть вон я вот эту вот красавицу пытаюсь убить, но из-за того, что никто вот это ничего не делает, что написано, и я не нарушаю никаких правил, поэтому... Вилфак. Так, это надо вниз опустить. А, эта штука еще и вращается. Ага. Так, погоди, а сколько у нас? Вот это не активируется? Ха. А, она вся поворачивается. Изи. Блин. Так, погодите, да я сделаю так. Сделаю так. А знаешь что?
Now you shall perish.
49 тысяч. 49 тысяч. И я сделал, кажется, 40 круток уже. То есть потратил эти судьбы. Еще 10, как видишь, роллов есть бесплатных.
Illusion shattered.
Fire it up! Supporting fire!
Look alive.
Кого открывать? Вот чтоб я вот так вот просто крутил, чтобы даже мы не устроили никакого шоу интересного из этого. Вот просто, вот ты хочешь, чтобы я просто вот так вот взял и вот так вот нажал, да? Вот ничего интересного не хочешь, что произошло, да? Вот просто вот так вот. Сраный геймпад. Я тут, значит, пытаюсь придумать это, какое интересное шоу, чтобы вам было интересно. О, Колей. Это интересно смотреть, как я ролю. А ты хочешь, чтобы я вот просто вот так вот ролил, да? Вообще, блин. Вот как для вас сделать интересный контент, если вы сами не хотите интересный контент? Ну все, эти закончились. И эти закончились.
Shine down. Embrace the ice.
Check this out!
Buckle up. You asked for it.
Ну, прикольно, она видит невидимых врагов.
My apologies.
Fire it up! I got you covered!
Torn to oblivion.
Ну, я думал, я ее это чисто выбью, когда уже закончу. Ну, в принципе, да. То есть я сейчас, бывает, делаю роллы, поэтому... Дождемся еще какого-нибудь подходящего момента и сделаем еще один ролл. Ну да, жалко, что никого нету, чтобы можно было действительно... Вот твою мать. Это испытание слишком сложное. Давай 10 роллов. Мне сейчас главное, чтобы Беннет C6 не вывел, потому что я все-таки не хочу его, наверное, повышать, но выбора, наверное, у меня особо нету. Так, я хотел... Да, нам же Колей выпало.
My people are
Где-то немножко. Активация кошачьего сокровища увеличивает мастерство стихий всех членов отряда поблизости, кроме самой Колей, на 60 единиц. Неплохо. Так, еще выпало копье Фавония. Сколько у меня их вообще? Мне их 3. Да, я думаю, я могу одно из этих повысить до этого. Погоди, а почему у меня тут у кого-то... Это копье Фавония, наверное, было у Шанхэ. Да, это копье было у Шанхэ. То есть деду можно выдать вот это копье. Я не верю, зачем деду оно?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you
Как
just
же ты
can't get
права.
into it because they would never
Да, давай
understand.
я его возвышу. То есть один это... То есть одно использовать можно. Так, и деду выдадим это копье. А кто у меня еще с копьями? Тут не вижу у меня больше копьеносцев. Да, у меня и правда нету больше копьеносцев. Окей. Тогда точно, да, дадим деду. Где дед? Вот он. Так, оружие. И вот это ему больше подходит. Так. Абсолютно с тобой согласен. Так, это выполнили. Это выполнили. Ага, теперь цвет надо поменять. Сменить цвет. Сменить цвет. Когда-то... Да нет никого! Блин, мне... Вот мне бы на новый геймпад заролить. Вау, тут красиво.
It's nice to be appreciated.
Додапок, большое спасибо за фолловинг. Не забудь чекнуть описание, там полно полезных ссылок. За Ролю только пусть наболтается. Мешал.
But as a desert dweller, I suppose we should be used to our...
Don't waste your breath. You have...
Run. Had I witnessed the golden age of Deshret's relics. Even if I could leave this place behind, all that awaits me now are endless days of... Even now, my brothers and I, the greatest, should never live to remember...
So you want to go out in a blaze of glory?
Let us draw our weapons! They are but two. Well,
Окей. Так, ну чё, новый фолловер 10 роллов? Вот и пошли принки. О, золото! Это 100% Д, потому что у меня гарант. Да! Есть, мы ее выбили. И всего лишь потратили. То есть я, получается, потратил всего 1600, получается, да, из своих примок. А, нет, там еще парочка было. Ну, блин, да, вообще мало потратили. Можно, конечно, еще ее оружейку паролить. Но я не уверен. Там, по слухам, у Фонтейна будут... Ого, Наэль. Там у Фонтейна будут просто охрененные персонажи. И я, наверное, думаю... Я лучше буду продолжить до Фонтейна роли это копить, да? О май гад, ты посмотри на эту красотку. Боже мой, как она хороша. Всё, я просто влюблен. Я влюблен. Я невероятно влюблен. Что у нее за эти? Также она наносит дополнительный урон, который зависит от ее макс HP. После активации сферы пламени длительность повторно созданного огненного зрелища повышается на 6 секунд. Кулаки пламенной гривы и сжигающий удар клыков львицы, поражая противников, становится 15 энергии Дехи, также доспеть HP. Ожидание клыков львиц повышается на 10%. Да, нормально и на персонаж. Чё ей все не нравится, а? Чё она всем не нравится? Так. Ну да, все, я все купил. Так, вот это вот разве что мы купим. Ага. Так. Слава богу, Беннет не выпал c6. Зато колей c5. Жалко, блин, не c6. Было от колей бы еще бафануть до c6, и это... И на Эле у меня c5. Жесть. Блин, у меня уже много персонажей c5. Ну вот ты посмотри. Happy to apply.
Take flight. Illusion shattered. Let's get it on.
Where do you think you're going? Только не сдохни здесь. Ой-ой-ой, меня... Да, надо, конечно, подумать. А, я хотел, да, перед тем, как я... Погоди. Я вот что хотел сделать. Я хочу посмотреть, что у нее за оружие вообще. Так, шанс критического попадания и базовая атака. После попадания элементальным навыком по противнику сила атаки увеличится на 20% на 8%. При получении урона сила атаки увеличивается на 20%. Эти эффекты сработают даже если персонаж не на поле боя. Кроме того, если экипированный персонаж не защищен щитом, его макс AP увеличится на 32. Слушай, меч-то на самом деле неплохой. И у меня, очевидно, вообще ни разу нет замены для него. Потому что у меня клейморов-то ни хрена нету. Мастерство стихий. HP. Восстановление энергии. Защита. Восстановление энергии. Сила атаки. Бонус физического урона. Вот сила атаки еще это... Возможно, мне стоит заролить для нее оружие. Но нет, знаешь что, просто так я его не буду ролить. Давай так, пока стрим не закончится, пусть правила действуют. Но просто так, Каждый, я ролить точно не буду. То есть пока идет стрим, если я нарушу какое-то из этих правил или что-нибудь из этого выполнится, окей, я заролю. Оружейный баннер. Но просто так я ролить не буду, потому что все-таки оружие мне не надо. Но да, у меня единственное, наверное, подходящее ей оружие, это, наверное, вот это. Но... Да это, в принципе, тоже еще может подойти. То есть ей восстановление энергии нахрен не нужно. Это не подойдет.
Привет. Я твой ярый говнет. Все время смотрю твои видео и заедаю все дерьмом. Спасибо тебе большое. Теперь я сыт и полон сил.
1 рубль. Нет, за 1 рубль ролить не буду. Потому что у нас 10 роллов это 100 рублей. То есть, если ты хочешь, чтобы был 1 ролл, надо 10 рублей. Но большое спасибо за лестный комментарий. Большое тебе спасибо. Я очень рад, что тебе нравится мой контент. Я стараюсь как могу. Да, надо сначала способность гири поставить, а потом это вот.
Scatter! Germinate!
Now you're testing my patience.
Look alive! Torn to oblivion!
King Discrod will not abandon any one of his followers.
Ну, это мы еще посмотрим. Почему я с ними сражаюсь здесь?
Embrace the ice! My apologies!
Check this out! Here's backup!
Inazuma shines eternal!
Brothers! This is where we prove our faith.
You all just wanna die?
None of us plan to leave this place alive! Lord of Sad, your sacrifice is ready.
But we'll meet again.
Все. Пожалуй, это было несложно.
The commander has finally fallen.
But they're still coming at us! This place is like a gladiator's ring. They just keep coming.
Yes! Keep fighting! There's no need to fear, and
When the next wave comes, try to draw away their... I'm going to see if I can take out that high platform.
Окей. Это что, это все наше подкрепление?
Get out of my way!
come and face me, Michel! Ugh, so they've broken through the...
Apologies, Lord Michel. They fight like absolute madmen.
Kill him.
So,
Time to pay for everything.
you think I would give you that opportunity? I will be buried in the sand alongside all the...
Hey, wait!
Эй, вы! И что он собирается сделать? Он просто упал?
We were too late.
It's over. There's no more need to fight. But if you're still going to cling on to your so-called mercenary's pride, then I'll give you all a good...
Hey, Dehya! I found the mechanism. I'll get you all back up here right away.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go for a ride. Тут. Все, дычка-то у меня есть. О, сундучок. Теперь надо ей придумать, дай какую-нибудь команду. Вернулся, а я ее выбил. Вот ты опоздал, это совсем ненадолго. Ты опоздал совсем ненадолго, я ее выбил.
You call yourself a member of the infamous Deshret's relics, and you still can't even tell who's made it all the way to your headquarters?
Who knows what intent a bunch of rats may have? We try to catch a couple, and you all just show up on the other side instead. How are we supposed to figure out what you're
Да,
after?
чуть-чуть поздно.
Hey, have you ever heard of a man by the name of Kusela? Why would I know? It's not like I'm...
This is your last chance.
Hey, I said I don't know anything. If you're here to find someone, why don't you look through the records yourselves? Who can remember...
The irony.
The irony.
His life became a light for so many, yet to others... Where's the records room?
It's right over there. All the files are in there. You can go through them as much as you want. It's...
I mean the old records room.
The old records room? You mean the one that got burned down? Kusela. Ah, yeah, I remember him now. The guy who could hardly walk. Watch your mouth. That's our He was definitely faking it. We all let our guard down as soon as we saw him come hobbling in. But in the short time it supposedly took him to take a dump, he couldn't have possibly outrun us if he wasn't a fraud. And after that, Deshret's relic...
Stop wasting our time. Every one of... Tell me, where is...
It's just over there. Go see it for yourself. There's nothing left in there but ashes. No human... Bashar, Tikriti, let's go. We'll spare them no mercy.
Спердом, no mercy. Да, я ее выбил. Ты Нет, это пробная. А, ну да, я, к сожалению, не могу ее сейчас тебе... А нет, вот она. Ты посмотри на эту красавицу. Моя! Моя красавица! И я потратил... Хочешь знать, сколько от всех моих примаджемок вано? Не буду показывать это раньше времени, пока не убежишь, что ты тут. Всего пару тысяч. А у меня есть еще и 46 тысяч. Так что ждем Фонтейна. По сливам, это когда выйдет Фонтейн, там будет невероятные персонажи. Просто невероятно охрененные персонажи. Ну там кто-то лежит. Так что ждем там, может быть и там найдем новых вайфу. Может там наконец-то выйдет хорошенькая кошкодевка, как мы с тобой ждем. Охрененно. Она просто охрененна. Ну да, играть на ней сложновато. Его трость. И не... Да она про... Внешний вид у нее просто это великолепен.
We're fortunate to somehow find that cane after.
Let's split up and look around some more. What if something else?
But what else could survive a fire like that?
Huh?
Что она нашла там? О, это меч. Вау. Это очень круто. Обожаю этот меч и трости.
Wait, isn't that the toy sword you played with as a child?
The dragon is no more.
Ой, она такая милая, когда маленькая была. Вы посмотри на нее. У нее уже тогда были ушки.
Her bravery has brought eternal peace and prosperity to us all. Dear, come on. This is the most important line.
You can do it.
But Dia, you defeated the dragon. Everyone's waiting for your speech.
Да.
Still too shy, huh? All right, I'll do it. I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more.
О. Так засмущалась. Ой, какая она прелесть.
I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more, Dad.
О, аж до слезок. Во имя защищающего барана, членов Лего зоны, все бойцы властями. То же самое дали Дехя какой-нибудь пацан. Говорю, со мной не сказала ни слова. А прикинь, он реально все-таки жив.
What's this?
Тебе кое-что заказали.
Don't you remember? You asked Paimon what she would do if she were to wake up tomorrow with loads of money. And Paimon said that she would get boatloads of tasty snacks. You looked super confused at the time, but said it was an adorable thing to say. These opportunities don't come by often.
Yeah.
So today, Paimon's gonna treat you to a special crash course on Paimon's life philosophy.
Она редко тратит крам на день друзей.
Hey, come on! Paimon's not that stingy. Anyway, the point is that you should eat to your heart's content. You'll feel better for sure once you've gotten something in your tummy. Junior Zad will also be here shortly.
Aw, thanks, you two. Honestly, this is very unlike. My chest was filled with all kinds of intense emotions. They just shook me even more than all the feel. But when everything came to an end, those emotions also vanished with. It was as if I'd lost the thing that was most important to me.
О боже, Вано, что ты там делаешь?
Yeah, you're right. To many mercenaries, Mora is the most important thing in the world. Idrisi and the others all used to say that they would quit if there was no Mora. Found out that the father who always told me hero stories was in fact a bad guy. But look at me now. Despite all my promises about never forgiving him and never trying to understand him, I still went to such length. We're hypocrites. All of us. Yeah, you're right. It's just a pity that we often only recognize our true feelings after.
You're back! Are all of you alright?
Да. Обними свою подругу скорее.
Yeah. Many people from the core of 30 came over, and I just wrapped up everything. Huh?
Paimon will explain. A lot happened.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really should have controlled my emotions better.
Ты не
It's all
представляешь,
right, my
как я с
lady.
тобой согласен.
You were hurt by all of this as well. Truth be told.
Dia, your pain must be...
Hey, don't worry about me. If anything, my father probably thought that people could settle into new lives as long as they moved. That thought has even crossed my mind a few times.
Ня.
It's like saying, what's wrong with adapting to a new life? However, there was always something deep within my mind that refused to accept it. But now that I consider it again, it all makes sense. The desert sands are a part of who I am.
I understand how you feel.
That doesn't mean I won't be making any changes to my life, though. As an example, I'm now... It's just like Idrisi said. I also want to catch up to my father. Even if the ending of the story may be childish...
Isn't that neat, though? Oh, you'll be a whole new kind of mercenary, one that's not out for... Why don't we go for a change of scenery once we finish eating?
Right. You said you wanted to get a rug for your family.
Come along too.
Ей, шопинг.
I can't thank you enough for taking care of me.
А, еще не все. Ай. Так. Так, что у меня там еще... А, колей же, да? Внутри. А, нет, не колей. А что у меня светится? А, у меня... А, нет. А что у меня кажется? А, я забыл. Надо здесь же еще активировать. Нет. А, вспомнил. Да, вот. Надо здесь ее познать. Вот она, красотка. Ну-ка ты, о, боже мой, ты посмотри на ее животик. Жесть. Да просто ня. Че ты распамился звуками? Надо сейчас обязательно для нее отряд сделать. Я как раз давно хотел огненный отряд сделать. Идея, возможно, будет в его голове. Господи.
Oh, this rug here is quite something.
Ah, here you are. Finally, I found you.
Hey, aren't you that mercenary who bit his tongue? You can still talk? Wait, are you here to...
What are you talking about?
Он реально
What, did I
это.
take you all to a fight? I just came here to give you something. Once I woke up, I hurried to the Khan al-Ahmar's camp. But when I got there, I found no one except the members who were still too injured. From Kusela. Now that everyone's already turned themselves in, I might as well do the same. One of the injured members gave this box to me. Everything left in the camp will get confiscated, so I figured I should get this to you before the court.
Thank you.
No worries. We are all just living our own truths. There's no need to comment or judge anyone.
So this box...
I'm a kid.
His father left...
Well, back in the day, The first thing he did, but let's see what's in. What's this? It's just a bunch of junk. Kind of.
Perhaps it's just been.
A handwritten copy of a storybook. The paper's already full. How's it going?
Probably means this was really important.
And here are a few bags of children's snacks. The packaging.
Did he get those for you?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Even when I was a child, I was never a fan of these kinds of. Who even puts snacks in a box like this anyway? Forget it. Let me see what else is in here. A razor, some buttons, a wool scarf, which, from the looks of it, probably belonged to
I'm suddenly.
I'm sorry, my lady, but this is just the kind of man he was. He probably 2 empty liquor bottles. Tell me, you guys, are these?
Huh? There's something in the bottle.
Oh, you're right.
Я тебе говорю, надо послушать ее, конечно, на японском, но я уверен, что на английском она звучит лучше, потому что голос, знаешь, такой грубоватый. Как раз для наемницы подходящий.
All right, I got it out. It seems to be a piece of paper with some writing on it. The bottom part's all damaged from moisture, though. Let's hope the writing didn't smudge. I was suddenly seized with an urge to write a letter after finishing this bottle. I just folded it up and left it in the bottle, though. If I end up forgetting about it, to Dia. It's a letter for me?
Лучше считай про себя.
It's all right. I'll just read it out. If he went to the trouble of writing a letter, there must have been some important things that he
My condition's becoming worse and worse. Can't even walk without a cane anymore, much less go out and have fun. Guess I don't have many. If you're reading this letter, then I suppose you were adorable as a baby. Everyone loved you. And regardless of whether you were crying or laughing, but once you grew a bit older, you were no longer nearly as happy or cute. It's probably...
Can you believe this guy? He can point the finger.
Anyway, back to the point. To summarize, I'm writing this so you would know not to feel sad for me, even if you... And the reason being that... I was never your father.
Whoa! Вот это поворот!
What?
Surely, he must.
I don't know.
I was quite formidable when I was young, and 100 times cooler than some so-called... Really felt like the whole world was under my feet. With just a teeny tiny bit of effort, but as fate would have it, I went out into the desert for a drink one day, and discovered a baby. You were just lying there, small and helpless. You were so tiny that if the wind blew for just a little, but your cries were so loud they made my head hurt.
Sounds like
Ни хрена себе.
I told Idrisi and the others that I had slipped up with a woman while out and about. None of them even doubted me.
На самом деле, да, ему реально все поверили. Глисток.
I'm sorry that I had to lie to them for so long. I was their most esteemed leader after all. It's not like I could just tell them that... Anyway, you possess the kind of freedom and kindness that we could only dream of. As far as how you should live your life...
Обалдеть.
That's the end of... In the end, he was still thinking of me as a little child. I suppose, or I would have suffocated under the sand a long time.
He was a good father to you. The fact that he wasn't a blood relative...
Yeah. It's just a pity that we had to learn the truth of everything like this.
И не говори, мой тоже. Только мой за молоком ушел. Нет, если честно, он уехал в Екатеринбург за игрушкой на радиоуправление.
Do you already have some ideas about the decision that he wanted you to make?
I do. If he first found me alone in the sands, then I want to try my hand at finding the person who... I just have one wish. To tell that there once existed a childish and foolish jerk with a heart of gold, and that only under his care was I able to...
If you end up finding any leads, can you share them with us? We go on adventures all the time.
Sure, I appreciate it. I wasn't expecting you to be so
И
enthusiastic.
я ее уже пригласил домой.
I'll help too.
Thank you. All of you. My life has certainly had its twists and turns.
Но только
but
отца и
always
найти
considered
будет
myself
просто
lucky.
невыполнимое задание.
Because no matter where I've gone, I've always been surrounded by incredible kindness.
Интересно, а Нахида может отслеживать судьбы людей и узнать, кто это? Кто ее батя настоящий? Ну да, это капец какой неплохой, интересный род. И в целом очень хороший метод. Очень классное свидание было, одно из лучших. А теперь идем к худшему свиданию. Да, вот так вот сразу, от лучшего к худшему. Бабуль, ты где?
Even though most of the academia's restrictions have significantly relaxed, I'm still a bit worried that the Matra might give her trouble. I need to stay here to keep an eye on the situation. Kale, can you head to Sumeru City and find out why she...
Does it have to be me?
I'd only assign a job this important to someone I trust.
Oh no, I'm fine. I've completely recovered. It's just that if I'm...
I know. You'll have a tough time if you go by yourself.
Привет. Меня зовут кто-то.
Oh, hey there.
Ah, it's been a while. What a coincidence. I was just thinking about asking you to accompany Kale to Sumeru City. Sorry, that's not what I meant. It's just that this matter concerns research banned by the acad. Also, you happen to know about this situation? There are very few people I can trust to be discreet right now. After giving it much thought, it's complicated, and this isn't the best place to talk about it. We'll fill you in on the details once she arrives.
Ну кто этот
You might
профессор?
have heard about her in Sumeru before. Her name is Faruzan, and she's a very experienced senior researcher.
С огромным
Let's just
стажем.
say that a huge part of Kasharowar's mechanical research over the past 100 years have used her academic discourse.
За последние
and
100
manuscripts as
лет
their
она что,
foundation.
бессмертная?
She is, but she vanished for 100 years because of a certain incident. She only returned to the academia after being found in the wilderness a few years ago.
Погоди, то есть, погоди. То есть она буквально исчезла из этого мира? Ни хрена себе. Мне реализовалась в Фантом Бридж, смотрел. Не вижу тупых людей, которые жалуются на игру, но не могут в тактику. Мол, игры баланс говно. Скинь на нее ссылку. Что-то незнакомое название. Ты уже. Это Меки? А она типа пошаговая или какая? Или это стратежка? То есть у тебя всего 5 секунд на то, чтобы подумать? Ой, я не люблю такие игры. Я XCOM люто ненавижу за то, что там ограничения по времени. Думать много? А что значит в 5 секунд? Так, ну я вижу, что можно создавать свою собственную меку. Окей. И да, я смотрю, шаги там делаются в стиле написания кода, да? Типа ты строишь скрипты. Ну, слушай, выглядит окей интересно. Окей, выглядит интересно. Она очень дорогая. Признаю, выглядит интересно, я попробовал.
Because of that, Her current personality can be a bit strange, as is her attitude towards Kale.
I'm getting a headache just thinking.
She doesn't have bad intentions, so you don't have to be scared.
О, дороговато. Ну, может, ты меня когда-нибудь подаришь.
I'll try.
А без нее никак не
Yes,
обойтись?
Kasharawar and Spontamod researchers are often quite prejudiced. However, Faruzan isn't influenced by modern thinking. In our previous correspondence through letters, she indicated that it's already past our arranged meeting time, but she still
Вау,
hasn't shown
винда
up.
провисла. Стрим, возможно, упал. Нет, все нормально. Все нормально. Ну, значит, время давно прошло, а она так и не появилась. Может, Академии стало
I
обо
don't
всем
think so.
известно?
With her personality, it's more likely that she got wrapped up in some sort of trouble. Anyway, can you go with Kale to the Academia and check on Faruzan for me?
Ну, разумеется.
Thank goodness. I was so anxious.
Господи, она сейчас повела, знаешь, как типичная девушка, которая это типа хочет, чтобы за нее все делал этот парень. Они даже эту сделала эту позу, когда девушки назад такие: ой, вот если бы большой храбрый мужчина помог мне. Жесть.
I'm counting on you two. Kale, don't push yourself too hard. Just go there and... Our task is important, but not that urgent. If Faruzan really is in some trouble, after all, if she's distracted by other things, it'll affect her ability to help.
All right, let's go.
Alright, let's go. Кажется, записывали фразы без сценария. Потому что эта фраза была абсолютно неправильной интонации. Или использовали ее обычно alright, let's go.
Sorry, what did you say? Oh, could you repeat yourself? As you know,
А вот и наша бабуля.
hearing goes with it.
Farzan, I said that you need to give us an answer.
Ah, yes. And did you forget to add madam when you addressed me earlier?
Почему? Вот великолепный перевод. Как у нас мадам превратилась в профессора.
Your hearing is perfectly fine. Madam Farzan, we don't want to make things difficult for you. However, you haven't been teaching courses or supervising the... Isn't this rather problematic as an advisor? Never mind the
And who, if I may ask, complained? If they have any issue with me, tell them to talk to me themselves rather than waste any of your time.
Она точно Мику Хатсу, но у нее даже голос английской озвучки схож с ее японской.
You don't have to tell me anything. I very well know that it's those people from Haravatat. How I wish they'd put their
But, Madam Farzan, it has been a long while since you last made any practical
academic contribution.
Да, это свиданка с ней сейчас. У нас свиданка с бабушкой.
The issue here, I believe, is that the reviewer doesn't understand the very nature of...
Так мы только что ее закончили. Тот квест, на котором ты пришел, это была свиданка с Дей.
In any case, makes no sense to use a metric like this to evaluate a mentor. Which sage set this rule anyway? I should write a letter of complaint right this instant.
Wait! Madam Farzan, please let me finish.
That's her, all right. But the person with her doesn't look like a Matra.
Молодо, так молодо.
Hates it when people call her young. Body apparently stopped aging during the year she was gone. So that's why she looks the same as she did 100 years ago. Okay, I think I'm ready for this. Let's go.
Почему эта фраза прозвучала так, как будто у нас сейчас с ней будет первый секс?
Anyway, Akara Crafts and the leader of Kasharawar would like to invite you to collaborate on this. They're wondering if you'd be interested.
What?
Ah, Kale! Why are you here at the Academia? Are you feeling better now?
Надеюсь, сейчас будет с этой бабушкой. Ну смотри, ну точно Мику Хадсон, Ивано, ты посмотри. Ну Мику же. Волосы подлиннее сделать вообще... Я пойду чай налью. И такая же старая.
Sex.
Так, я вернулся. Так, это ведь Калита. Да, это мы все прочитали?
Much better, Madam Farazan. It's all thanks to the traveler and the dendro. Have you been sleeping well? You seem to be developing some eye bags. Is that brat Tainari forcing you to stay up late again? No, it's because I'm a slow learner. It's not master. It's good to be hardworking, but you need to take care of your health. I'll have to give Tainari a right talking to when I see him. I'll also prepare some...
О, как она о ней заботится. Она ее бабушка?
Ah, and is the person beside you the legendary traveler?
Привет, бабуль.
Oh, I've heard much about you before. In fact, I've been meaning to meet you for a while now.
Да, это знак. Иди переигрывай на польском. Я, кстати, у меня сейчас мама там сидит, смотрит шорты. Уж эти шорты, а. Не, они намного лучше, чем TikTok. Контент, по сути, тот же самый, но они намного лучше. То есть там хотя бы управление лучше и прочее.
It is thanks to you, after all, that the academia is finally getting back on its feet. Even Kali's illness is...
Они модерируются намного, да, лучше.
Madam.
I'd wager it's those Kasharawar dunderheads finding excuses so that I'd go to their darshan. Say no more. I have no...
If you're this unwilling to participate in the it might be difficult to teach a course with topics that only fall within Haravatat's subjects, but we can't... You can teach a course or participate in a collaborative project. If you don't do either, it'll be hard for me to persuade the advisors and students who have been complaining.
Could you not give me a few more days to consider? This matter has been delayed for so long already.
That's precisely the issue. If you don't give an answer today, I fear that someone will soon escalate their complaints to the sage.
What a waste of free time these folks are. Now you two are here at Tainari's behest, I take it. I'm sorry. Of course,
идем на просто.
I shall need some time to think as well.
Ну да, конечно, свидание в таком стиле с Дэй было бы, может быть, получше. Было бы даже интересно ее увидеть, это смущающееся и прочее. Давай поможем ей уладить дела.
I'm sure he'll say, the best thing you can do now is study hard, so I don't have to give you remedial lessons.
Ну, для этого есть определенные сайты. Че ты там все опять скидываешь? Ну, блин, ну я тебя уже один раз банил за это. Ну, что ты за человек? Не, в апдейты для No Man's Sky мне интересно. Мне не интересно. Точнее как, они мне очень интересны, но это... Ты знаешь, что я не люблю, когда ты просто во время стрима кидаешь что-то в Discord. Ты когда кидаешь, то хотя бы пиши, что ты кинул, чтобы я не сворачивал тогда игру. Я могу...
Sounds kind of scary. Okay then. I'm counting on you.
То есть у нас, по сути, это у нас двойное свидание и с Калей, и с бабулей.
I have to teach students from Haravatat or owe Kasharawar a favor. It strikes me that they might be even less happy about such a deal.
I think I can sympathize with them.
We're back, Madam Farazan. The Traveler said that he can stay and help you. Oh. Why, I couldn't ask for more. In fact, I'm rather curious about the type of person the Traveler is. You were the one who taught Azara a lesson after all. That's
Я мастер по решению проблем.
That's so. Good. It does so. Now, should I apply to teach a course with Haravatat or join the collaborative project that Kosharawa?
You might have heard of it before. Haravatat is an academic faction that researches languages and runes.
No, not was. Still am.
Still
yes,
am.
Of course. But current Haravatat students can't really, understand her direction of
In summary, I mean to interpret the configurations and solutions of ruin mechanisms via the deciphering of on-site stone carvings and unearthed documents. It'll include research into general documents dealing...
The research method is supported by Haravatat, yes, but the content deals heavily with both ruins and mechanisms. This will make it difficult for students. Also, there are fewer and fewer unexplored ruins left nowadays, and Kasharawar researchers have been developing their own theories on mechanisms. As such, they don't need to rely on ancient documents.
They're far too complacent. Ancient mechanisms are more dangerous and complex than one might imagine.
Тут она права.
Things weren't like this 100 years ago. All researchers back then were interested in exploring knowledge from a variety of topics. Nowadays, all people are interested in are mainstream subjects in popular research. Even if they attended my course, I wouldn't be interested in Also, the people here think that my research is outdated and unrealistic, so they keep cutting my funding. Why, I think they could all stand to learn from Kale. She's a hard-working child and Huh?
Реально, за 6 минут, 6 минут неплохо.
If only those who came to my lectures were more like... Speaking of which, are you feeling better? You don't have to confine yourself to Gandharva, villain.
I just remembered that I have a lot of studying to do. I need to head...
Are you telling me to start a reading course for Kale?
Although Tainari has academic dealings with the academia, he isn't considered part of it. This means that Kale isn't technically a student.
А слушайте, курса должны быть студентами Академии?
No, he's right. The old academia became consumed by their arrogance precisely because they ignored the There must surely be many people like Kale and Sumeru who are passionate about learning, but cannot study due to the old academia paid no heed to them. But if I start a reading course for Kale as a pilot, perhaps this shall... Oh, save yourself the extra trouble. I'll come with you. If there's any arguments to be had, we shall Traveler, Kale, do wait for us.
Wait! Let's catch up with her.
Да, скорее за ними, скорее за ними. Буль, ты нас забыла, бабуль. Где мой теплый свитер?
I can't believe she rushed right in after we arrived. She's really headstrong. Oh, how did things turn out?
Здорово.
Not really. Madame Farazan is a brilliant scholar. Even Master thinks so. If she's really going to teach, it's just that she can get a bit too passionate sometimes. I don't know how to handle that. Maybe it's because she wants to take me in as a student? It's just like that researcher said. The academia has completely... I don't really get it. But it does seem like Haravatat's students aren't optimistic. Students who are interested in mechanisms and applications of the elements. Madame Farazan also refuses to accept random students just to make up numbers. She still hasn't found a student she likes. But she seems to like my attitude toward learning. So she often... it's because I'm a slow learner that I have no choice but to stay up late and study. Whenever she compliments me, I feel really guilty. It's not that. Madame Farazan respects my choices. She hasn't been trying to persuade me, especially since she knows I need to rest. She sometimes brings food to Gandharvaville for me. And each time she says that Master can't find out. Now that you mention it, it does feel a bit like that. Do I really look that young?
Kale, Traveler, thank you for waiting. The issue has... I argued with the higher-ups and convinced them of the practicality and necessity of educating the general public. If I'm not mistaken, they're the students of my classmates' students. They're a lot less forceful than their predecessors, though. I'd say they caved rather quickly.
Amazing.
Интересно, она их правда видела или задавила авторитетом?
Every single page of the application. It's been a century, but the academia is as picky as ever. Let's see now. What do we need to fill in? Course name, learning objectives, teaching methods. That's a bit too general, I'd say. After all, this class's target audience isn't toddlers or children, but as such, we'll need a more specific learning objective.
That's true. If we use children's teaching materials, we'll only end up wasting...
And you have your job as a forest ranger, Kale. People who attend this course in the future are also likely to have life commitments. We need more effective teaching methods.
Master always tells me that practice is the best way to learn. That's why I often ask him to help me find simple books to read.
It must have been difficult to get books in Sumeru in recent years, no? Tainari really... Expanding literacy is a capital notion. Now that the academia is easing restrictions on the circulation of books, there should be more...
О, как много она говорит.
It's a great time to conduct this course. So that's next on the list. I fear that I'm at a loss as to which books youngsters like nowadays.
Слушай, а это ленивое
Would the
свидание?
Legend of Antara be too old of
Обычно
a
во
story?
всех этих свиданиях каждый вариант это всегда разное решение. А сейчас они опять как в обычной игре. То есть варианты филлеры. Что бы ты ни выбрал, это просто продолжение одной и той же фразы.
Fair. Kale, what have you been reading lately?
Давай.
Me? I've been reading light novels from Inazuma. I heard that ever since we were allowed to sell books in Sumeru again, some people set up stalls at treasures.
Light novels? This is my first time hearing about such a thing, but I doubt I will procure suitable teaching materials from the House of Dana. Treasures?
Wait for us, Madame Farazan!
Какая она шустрая, да, для 100 лет-то.
Fast as her is over 100. Let's pick up the pace and catch up to her.
Погоди, я не... Ага. Ага. Здесь? А, вот. Бабуль, бабуль, мы тебя потеряли. Ты от нас так не убегай.
Long and mildly ungrammatical title. And why is the cover so colorful?
Is this your first time seeing a light novel, ma'am? Oh, they're the most popular books nowadays.
Fine. One shouldn't judge a...
Of course. Why don't you try this one? It's Outlander Brigade. When the wind...
I heard that this book's author describes action.
Now I've only skimmed through a few pages, but it feels like it's all...
Subjects? Predicates?
The protagonist just ends up fighting in every scene with no proper build-up. Will anyone even enjoy a story that's only comprised of fights?
How about... the good thing about being reincarnated as a hilly churl is that I only...
A reincarnation isekai story? Those are pretty popular.
Isekai? What in the world is that? Oh, tropes? Ah, those fictional rules used to push the plot forward, yes?
Да.
They're definitely effective in achieving a distancing effect.
Sorry.
However, this book doesn't explain how reincarnation correlates to becoming stronger. Such an illogical rule will affect the coherence of the story. Will readers really accept this?
How about this? I had to fight tooth and nail to get this in stock.
Oh, that's the latest volume of Onibura.
Now that's a rather normal title length.
Oh, yes, but I don't like it that much. Madam, are you going to...
Let me see. The dialogue flows quite well, but their third eye of perception, illusory mirror...
I also thought those names were strange when I was reading them.
It's impossible to derive the meaning of these phrases in isolation. Also, their morphological properties are quite pedestrian. Or did the protagonist purposely create these strange names to disorient their foes? So there's no deeper purpose. Huh.
You're right. It's such a weird book. But...
Even the most popular book in Sumeru back then had greater depth than anything written today. Yes! A Bahumano researcher wrote it while researching folk legends. The plot had many twists. The world building was fantastic, and even the writing could withstand scrutiny. When it was still being published, even the sages back then all described the story as a timeless classic. The series must have concluded after so many...
Is there a book like that in Sumeru? I've never heard of such...
It's called Tales of Shariar. Do sell...
Tales of Shariar?
About 100 years ago.
100 years ago? Are you pulling my leg?
The legend of Antara is popular to this very day, isn't it? I just heard someone telling it if an old story like that is still being shared, then Tales of Shariar must be...
Even if that is the case, I really...
What? Is that? I can't believe they've allowed the people of Sumeru to become so uncivilized.
Tales of Shariar. Oh, wait. I mean, it is a book from 100 years ago. What are you...
Tales of Shariar is considered an antique now? How could the academia have let such an excellent work of literature be forgotten like Traveler, Kale? I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
И она снова убежит.
Oh no. You asked me why I'm scared of Madame Farazan, right? It's not. It's because I'm afraid of that ancient language she researches. Because I can barely understand any of it. What if she uses ancient? Even so, what if researchers from 100 years ago like to use ancient languages in their books?
Ну, нет, за классику знать надо. То есть это на самом деле очень хорошее наглядное это показание, как это сражается, да.
Wow, you actually...
I never thought this book would ever get so...
All right, that's our teaching material secured. We also now know what to call this course. Analysis of class...
Can I take a... Luckily the language being used here isn't ancient at all. I can recognize...
As long as the writing is good, readers won't need any illustrations to imagine the scene. Worry not. I shall thoroughly explain the difficult sections. You'll like the... After all this time... I wonder if Aaliyah and Aziz ended up together. Sir, do you have the subsequent volume?
I don't...
Is that so? And here I thought I could finally... If I'm to use it as a teaching material, it's better to start earlier in the series. Where are...
I don't...
Is this series really that popular?
No. It's not popular at all. Rather, there's absolutely no demand for it.
No demand?
Oh.
Impossible. Back then, I'd come across at least 3 groups of...
Seriously? No one told me that this book was anything
Where did you get this from? Can you still...
I'm afraid not. This book was sold together with a whole bunch of antique furniture. I didn't even notice it. Otherwise, the Matra would have come knocking. Wait, is this book actually worth a lot? It can't be, right?
That's impossible. No matter how strict the academia was, there's no way to...
I do remember a passerby skimming through the book a few days ago. However,
He sighed? Why would he react like that? I'm sorry. Traveler, Kale, please give me a Why is there another misunderstanding between Aaliyah and Aziz? And a new character is introduced with no foreshadowing at all? Also, is this really the Tales of Shariar
Well, that passerby reacted in much the same... It's Mada from the cafe over there. You know, the fellow who spends... Since that's also a very old story, maybe he knows a thing.
Then let's go ask around at the cafe. Huh?
Она уже убежала. А, нет. Я реально думал, что она уже убежала разговаривать с ним. На самом деле, для этого свидания можно, да, это пойти взять этот отряд. Ну, когда я сделаю его быстренько. То есть нам нужно... Так, нам нужен отряд... Так, нам нужен... А, Калей уже здесь. Сюда нам надо Фарузан добавить. И она, вот она.
Sure. I'll hang out with you, youngsters.
Another day, another...
Excuse me? But...
Yes! Are you here to...
well... Sorry.
It's fine. I'm used to it, more or less.
Do you know about Tales of Shariar?
Huh? Tales of Shariar? My master always talked about how incredibly popular that book used to be. However, I tried reciting a few chapters...
Your master?
Yes, the one who taught me how to be a storyteller. He said that Tales of Shariar
He also said that this great-great-grandmaster was an academic. He wrote 4 volumes back then, and the reviews just got better and better. You couldn't find a...
And then? What happened next? Why did...
Oh, it's hard to tell when it comes to trends. One day everyone... Instead of writing a proper ending, this great-great-grandma... To tap into popular trends, he added a lot of tropes. Then...
How could that be? Then what happened?
In the end, there's no ending. The great-great-grandmaster tried to write a few more volumes, following whatever he got so infuriated that he stopped writing all...
What? So there's no ending? The readers didn't care?
By that time, only a Anyway, my master probably exaggerated. How could a work possibly... The only tangible thing my great-great-grandmaster left is the original draft of Legend. He also left behind many theses from his research phase. When my master talked about Legend of Antara, he'd even... My master is a much better storyteller than me. But even he won't recite Tales of Shahryar due to its ever-changing writing style and...
So, Antara's story is the one that lasted through the...
Well, not even sages can definitively ascertain the quality of something like a story. In the end,
Only time? Madame Farazan? It's been 100 years. Perhaps some things I once believed to be great.
О, она расстроилась.
Yeah! Master helped me find a lot of famous books at first. But in the end, I realized that no matter how good those stories are, I can't improve my skills if I can't bring myself to read them in the first place. I think that... That is true. Readers' interest in trends of a time are not things that are so easily predicted. What was popular 100 years ago could be completely forgotten in modern times. And yet, 100 years as far as history is... If Tales of Shahryar hadn't chased after trends and instead stuck to its original style, it might have stood some chance of gaining renewed popularity. No, even if that didn't happen, at least it would be a work... Huh? Our conversation...
I don't really get what you're talking about, but it does sound sensible. Looks like I also have to hang in there and tell Antara's story well.
How unseemly. I almost got carried away because of a single book. Well then, we should get back to the matter of our... No, it's... Kale, you found a book that you liked at the... Yes, but... Then we'll use that book as our teaching material. Now that I think about it, using a book that you like is the most suitable choice for teaching. As for the academia, as long as we come up with an appropriate course name, we should be able to get away with this. My, it sounds like you've dealt with the academia before. Now then, let's return to the book vendor in a bit and buy the latest volume. But if I wish to use it as teaching material, I have... Speaking of which, other than third eye of perception and illusory mirror, I also espy some such things as... Even if it reminds me of my dark history, I still can't help but be drawn in by the story. And the author has written all the things that I only... Why do people use dark history to refer to awkward or embarrassing memory? If one of our learning objectives was researching linguistic changes over the past 100 years...
Oh, I can tell you what that's all about. Apparently, in their youth, some people used to imagine themselves as someone burdened by fate, fighting against the world. But as they grew older, they started to become embarrassed by such memories. Some would write those fantasies into novels, while others...
Mata? You know, I suddenly have the urge to hear a story. Why so suddenly?
I knew it. There will always be people who love the golden oldies.
Какая прелесть. Угу, это одна. Nudeless. Nudeless. Noodles. 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 Noodles.
What now? Master said there's no. I feel for Matt, but if I get her in trouble.
А, точно, да. И здесь удар сейчас
But I'm
будет.
sure he'll say, huh? Oh, so if I also stay and help? Okay then. Huh. I have to. We're back, Madame Farazan. The traveler said that he.
Oh, why I couldn't ask for more. Is that so? Now, should I apply? I don't know if Tainari's told you about this before, but while my research involves learning about, I don't belong to Kasharawar, which specializes in researching mechanisms, nor am I in Spontamod, which specializes in researching energy flow. Instead, I'm part of Haravatat, which specializes in languages and scripts.
She has been invited to Kasharawar multiple times to continue her research, but she's
Just listen to how they introduce themselves. In the future, Kasharawar will be the only Darshan with the ability to research mechanisms. There's no such. Besides, the current Kasharawar is more concerned about how mechanisms can be used in everyday life, while my research involves tech. If they're trying to use the collaborative project as an excuse to have me reconsider again.
No, that's not it. The request this time is from Akara. The representative of Kasharawar recommended you to them, Madame Farazan.
Oh.
Опа, кажется,
Aside
кого-то
my
купили.
ideological differences with Kasharawar, I suppose I must acknowledge this attitude of theirs.
Yeah. Akara Crafts is a.
Since.
In summary, Akara Crafts wants to design a series of early learning toys that will cultivate curiosity and learning in children. The academia agreed to work with them because they hope that these toys can help children become excellent researchers.
True. The current academia is in need of some new blood. If the children start learning now, perhaps I can find some
Madame Farazan, you still have.
Anise, Kasharawar's representative, should be staying in the inn at Port Ormos. If you want more details, you.
Port Ormos? Now there's a place I haven't been to in a long.
I probably can't join you since Port Ormos is a little far from here.
I should. No worries. Go do your homework, Kale. Once I'm done with everything here, I'll head over to Pardistii. Thank you. Why, I'd even call this a rare chance for a curious
О, спасибо. Так, знаете что? Что-то мне подсказывает, что по пути на нас нападут, поэтому одного боевого персонажа надо все-таки добавить. Розу или Эй? Розу или Эй? Розу или Эй? Давай, поскольку у нас этот... Только у нас два Деннер персонажа. Слава богу, просто легко. Но на всякий случай, потому что что-нибудь неприятное может случиться. Обязательно. Где? Это же место, где торгуют Дори.
Madame Farazan! Oh, all right, calm down. Let me be clear. I'm still not all that interested in Kashara. After all, you're here as representatives of the academia in this collaboration. The reputation of all
Either way, it's... Now, we've given Akara Crafts many ideas over the past couple of days. However, their owner thinks that our designs are too complicated, which will drive production costs.
That's expected. Students who have never had to deal with budgetary constraints probably don't understand how important it is to keep costs low. How enviable.
Oh, if you join the Kashara War, your budget will be as big as you want it to be. I guarantee it.
That's enough. I will not repeat myself. Take me to a car crash.
All right. He's usually at the slope up ahead recruiting volunteers to test out his toys. Mamdu, the one I recommended is here.
Oh, so you're, Madame Farazan?
Yes, that's me.
Yes, that's me.
Ah, wonderful. We've made many suggestions, but Miss Anis thought that those ideas were too simple and wouldn't be effective.
These early learning toys are meant to help the academia train future researchers, after all.
But if they're too complicated, not only will they be expensive to produce considering our production.
So the design can't be too complicated.
I remember that in your notes. Many contraptions have managed to fulfill complex functions despite using simple parts. Maybe we can...
The contraptions in my notes? I didn't create those. I simply took the contraptions in the ruins apart and analyzed. But now that you mention it, the ruins did have things like that. Do you have a pen, paper, and scissors? I'll make a...
You have an idea already? I suppose I should have
Насчет старейшего не уверен, но...
Oh, you're done already?
Ага. Так, погоди, это обычное это?
Let me explain. These 3 thick lines represent 3... These paper strips of varying lengths represent rings of different sizes. They can be slotted onto...
Well, that is easier to make than I expected. So, how is...
That's very simple as well. You just need to shift the tower from this pole to another pole.
Isn't this a little too simple?
Of course. When moving each ring, the paper strips in this case, you must follow one rule. You can only move one ring at a time, and you can't place a bigger ring on top of a smaller one. It's like building a tower. The rings in the 3 poles must be stacked from big to small. I named this toy Pagoda Stack.
Pagoda Stack.
That sounds way too simple. Even
Give it a try and you'll find out if it's simple or not. I heard from Anis that you find volunteers to try out the toys.
It's such a simple toy. There's no...
Mamdu, let's just do it.
Ну-ка. Можно я в нее сыграю?
And that's how you play this game. You can all give it a try. Let's see who's able to move the
You called everyone here for such a...
It doesn't look like it'll take
long. We all promised to help Mr. Mamdu test out the new toys. He said he'd give us new Genius Invocation TCG cards.
Ugh, fine. Let's get this over...
Done! It took me 19 steps.
Huh? It took me over 20.
I only needed 8.
Not bad. Looks like you're... Then let's increase the difficulty. The next tower will be 5...
Wait, there's more?
Well, since we're already here...
An extra layer shouldn't make it that much harder, right?
What's going on? I've already moved over 30...
I'm almost done. Done! It took me 35...
What?
This pagoda stack toy is pretty fun to...
Good. We'll try it one final time. This time we'll add 2 more...
Ни хрена.
Mamdu, we've still got quite a few paper strips here. Why don't you give this a go?
Do you need that many steps for something this simple?
Madame Farazan, allow me to try.
You were looking at it quite seriously just now. Are you starting? If you want to test out your hypothesis, you'll just have to play.
Got it.
We don't have enough paper strips left for you, traveler. Why don't you guess what the lowest number of steps needed to solve a 7-layer pagoda stack is?
Нравится с пирамидкой из 7 ярусов. Блин! Я в голове-то это даже не просчитывал. Пусть будет
What a
108.
shame. You were close. However, you did. Let's see how well they do then.
If I move this small ring, then the big one won't be able to go on top of it. Oh.
I've lost count of how many steps I've taken.
This got a lot harder.
I solved it! Madame Faruzan.
That many? But there are only 7 layers.
For every extra layer in the pagoda stack, the move order you need to consider becomes much more complex.
More accurately, it will require double the steps, plus 1 each time. You did well. You didn't underestimate the principles behind it just because it's the complexity of any given contraption isn't determined by the number of parts it has.
Oh, I see. No wonder you emphasized in your notes that no contraption should ever be underestimated.
I see. So even a simple toy can become complex with the right set of rules.
That's right. The rules used for pagoda stack are the simplest kind when it comes to ancient contraption making techniques. I could spend some time picking out all those machines that do something similar and write you a reference book. Once that happens, you can give the volunteers the reference book and paper prototypes and find out which toy is the most popular.
Do you have any other
Yeah! When can we play with them?
In about 2 days or so, I think. Niece, if you're
Of course.
2 days should be
Aw.
enough for us to find more volunteers. Then we can organize a huge conference here. You'd be most welcome. We need more people to get a health.
Thank you for coming here with me today. I'll be going then. Say hi to Tainari and Kale for me if you can. Once everything here is settled, I'll make my way over. You want to ask why I'm unwilling to join them, putting aside the fact that they're too full of themselves. I actually have no issue with their research. After all, knowledge is either right or wrong. Superiority and inferiority do not come into the conversation. All researchers are just doing their best to shed light on the unknown in their no matter what corner of the unknown they shed light on. It's a step forward for us all. Because I believe wholeheartedly in that principle, even if the others call my research useless, as long as the knowledge I gain from it is accurate, in the end, useful and useless are When I first started deciphering ancient documents, I didn't think about how it'd be useful to Kasharawar. That's why there's no need for me to join them to do useful research. I'd rather stay in Haravatat. It's much more convenient for me to access the material. Still, the funding that Kasharawar... Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I can even ignore Haravatat and ask for a higher budget directly from the academia. Oh, I could come up with lots of ideas. With Anissa's help, 2 days will be enough for our work. However, You're right. If no one understands the reference book, it doesn't matter. It's better to make it simpler and fun so that children will be interested in the subject. Thank you. I'll take your opinion into account.
А правда ждать 2 дня? Супер. Няу. Няу.
Academic research isn't some kind of fad. We'll see about that.
Oh, you're here. We're just starting to...
We've called up everyone we possibly could have. This is going to be quite the event.
Quite the event.
My masterpiece is going to be exhibited after all. And if we activate this little mechanism, a Sumeru rose will appear at the top.
Oh, I thought it came out of thin air.
If the mechanism was bigger, you could make a rabbit if
Then you can't use a cane. Could you switch it out with a hat or you're applying what you learned creatively? Let's look at the next page. If you fold an origami bird like this, it'll fly further and more stably.
Whoa. You can make a mechanism?
The principles at play are even more important than the...
These are pretty cool. I'm tempted to try.
I'm not that interested in toys, but if they'll be...
Everyone, we have paper prototypes and craft materials that you can use to make your own toys.
This is such a well-prepared event.
But we want to play...
It's fine. We have a lot of paper pro...
Oh, my origami.
Professor Farazan? How... Just madam will do. Maybe in the future, you may wish to pay attention to these few details.
Wow! Madam Farazan, will we learn origami at the...
Of course you will. If you become a researcher, you can in the future if you want. You can even become...
But Mom and Dad said that there are 6 darshans in the academia. Which darshan teaches about mechanisms in origami?
Well, in this case...
I know. We need to choose...
Huh?
I want to attend Kasharawar in the future and fold even...
I want to make even more awesome Actually, the other darshans do have their own specialties, too. For example, Haravatat specializes in... How did this happen?
What if we end up in a darshan we don't like? Does that mean that...
No, that won't happen. Take me, for example. I'm a researcher from Haravatat, but I research mechanisms. The only person able to restrict your curiosity as a researcher is... It's all right. You still have a long road ahead of you. Let me tell you a story about pressure-based mechanisms and...
О, это точно сохраним. Какая прелесть. Наша Микуся бабуля, это прям это... У детей это настоящая это звезда. Так, время вопросов и ответов. Так, ну-ка. А где здесь переход?
I'll be going then. Say hi to Tainari and Kale for me if a niece. She's able to calmly figure... I'll do my best to teach her over the next few days. Still, how much she learned... Well, her interest lies in the application of mechanisms. I do have some old knowledge to share. But if we think about my research into mechanisms is, in a sense, if she becomes my student to learn how to make modern contraptions, it wouldn't benefit either of us in the long... However, if she develops an interest in if I successfully poach a student, those young punks at Haravatat will have one less... Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I can even ignore... Oh, I could come up with lots of ideas. You're right. Explanations are a core part. By using detailed and accurate... Oh, thank you.
Погнали. Вид, ну, в принципе, неплохой. Такой переход, и это прикольный. Здесь зелень, а здесь пустыня. Мне нравится. О, там этого робота видно. Какая-то длинная хрень вон.
Oh, you're here.
We've called up everyone.
My masterpiece. To sum up, the 24 forms of pressure-based puzzle mechanisms were used. All right, let's go to the next page. Now, I'll explain the base layer design.
Are we done yet?
I don't understand.
Are these really toys?
They sound a bit too...
Oh.
Well, we've prepared paper prototypes for everyone. If...
Oh, this is no fun. Come, I want to go home and play
Forget it. I don't think anyone.
I should go home and.
Да.
How did this happen? Forget about.
I'm sorry. I think we miscalculated.
No, you simply gave suggestions. I was the one who decided to follow through. I will find a way to make up for this error. Please.
Excuse me, but are you the one who wrote this reference?
Ah, you're that man.
Do I stand out that much? Well, I guess I don't look like someone who'd have... Let me introduce myself. I'm
What's the branch master doing here?
I came to Port Ormos to visit some old friends. On the way over, I saw the booklet you were... Can you print a few more copies of this booklet and sell them to the Adventurers Guild? Also, could you...
What does the Adventurers Guild want with these?
You may see them as toys, but to adventurers who need to deal with all sorts of machines and we have many members who can't read, so books are of little use to them. Even if the academia granted public access to all their books...
Ah, and our booklet is practical...
Well, it is designed for children.
It might be a bit too difficult for children, but it's perfect for adventurers. Also, if you can make wooden versions for demonstration purposes, even if we can supply a model set for each branch, and if each adventurer carries a booklet with them, then ruin exploration will become...
You really think so? I mean, yeah.
Making models of contraptions for the Adventurers Guild? To be honest, that sounds...
We'll probably have to send in a separate application, but it shouldn't be an issue. After all, this concerns safety during the exploration of ruins.
Then let's cut to the chase and discuss the details of our first order.
Ну как хорошо все это вернулось. О, господи, она так мило это. В обморок упала от этого. Она реально аниме-персонаж. Вот самый аниме-персонаж из всех аниме-персонажей Геншина. Буквально. Так, еще две концовки. Две концовки. Так, здесь, я так понимаю... Я, да, закончил, значит, внизу... А, это у нас сейчас будет концовка, мы ее, это... Попытаемся похитить. Громкое преступление.
What now? Master said there's... I feel for Madame but if I get her in trouble with the academia... But if someone does complain to the academia, wouldn't it... And if the academia investigated and found her at Party's DI, do you have some way to invite her over to Party's DI without step... Okay, then.
Huh. I have to teach students from her...
Madame Farzan, we're back! Sorry for asking again.
Well, since you're asking...
Please, Madame Farzan, focus. Today's the deadline. Huh?
Yes. Why, that lad didn't make it very clear in his letter, now did he? Otherwise, I would have reported it as part of...
Yeah, that's right!
Wait. Opportunities for collaborative research. Also, there isn't much overlap between Madame Farazan's research and that of Amorta, right?
A fully automated irrigation system.
A fully automated irrigation?
Precisely. It's a system that can automatically adjust the amount of water. I saw a similar mechanism while exploring a ruin in the rainforest.
A mechanism like that exists?
I found it 100 years ago. So it's only natural that you don't know about it.
But we can't prove its existence.
Fret not. I'll have Tainari write an official proposal to the
An official proposal. Fine. I'll go inform my superiors now. Please do take...
Sure. I'll be sure to needle him until he gets it. Phew. I think she bought it. Even though this is our first meeting. I must say, we made...
Wow! You made up that excuse on the spot, huh?
Who knows? It's been 100 years.
Huh?
I'll let Tainari worry about whatever documents we... If I'm right, the request he has in store for me won't be any simpler than the academia nonsense.
We're back!
You don't have to shout. I can hear you.
С такими-то ушами, да?
You got here much faster than I expected. I thought you'd have a lot...
Thanks to the Traveler, I was able to, pawn off various problems.
On to others?
We can discuss that later. You're looking for me because of the thing you mentioned.
That's right. Please.
Морская роза, Пегисара. О, мы с этим сейчас встретимся. Как ты ему тут, мой друг? Да, мы тебя совсем не навещаем. Карката.
Don't be scared, Kale. This is the mechanical life form the Traveler and I saved a while back. It's the final work of a late junior of mine.
You mean Abatui? He must have been a genius to create one of such polish all by himself. It's uncommon that a Spontamod researcher is able to create such an intricate machine. If he were still around, we could probably chat the day. Something seems wrong here. Have you...
Karkata has been lying down like this since a few days ago. I've taken a few courses conducted by Spontamod before, so I've managed to perform some passable repairs on Karkata's My knowledge can only prevent its condition from deteriorating any further, but...
Not necessarily. Mechanical life forms are created using techniques from out. There are multiple modules here that influence each other. A simplistic knowledge of mechanisms will not serve. Each mechanical life form is very different from the next. So even I cannot be sure if my understanding of mechanical life forms is... Can you all go outside for a minute? I need a bit of space. Before I do a thorough check, everything we've just...
All right. We're...
Oh.
Who knew that I'd encounter a mechanical life form in this manner after 100 years?
I didn't know mechanical life forms could get sick.
Сразу переживать о нем начала.
We'll wait here till Faruzan finishes her inspection. In the meantime, I'd like to talk to you about her. Her past, huh? Quite a few people in the academy... I've told you before that she disappeared for 100 years, right? From her perspective, her exact words were...
That ruin was crawling with traps and coded inscriptions from wall... I did all I could to decipher the code and deactivate the traps to escape the ruin, but there was no... I lost track of time, and I ran out of pen and paper. In the end, I had to use stone shards to write on the walls and on the floor to decipher the code. Then, before I realized it, I ran out of space on the walls and floor. I had to calculate all the possibilities in my mind. After that, my memory started to become fuzzy.
She doesn't remember anything else, including the location of the ruin and how she finally managed. When she was found in the outskirts of Sumeru a few years ago, she looked exactly the same as she did 100 years prior. However, she was in a stupor and struggled to form. The academia speculates that she must have gotten trapped in an unknown ruin while researching, and because of the ruin's special properties that halted her aging, she was able to use those 100 years to crack. Though she had finally broken free, 100 years had passed. Everyone... In the end, even the academia had to rely on century-old records in the Akasha to confirm her. Don't make that face. I'm not telling you this because I want to drum up sympathy. She wouldn't... Rather, she sees that period of entrapment as an experimental error. As a researcher, she must accept even after going through so much. She's returned to Sumeru and still hasn't given up. Due to changes over the years and drift in academic subjects, she holds some rather strong opinions about the current academia. And what I want to say is that no matter what era we're in, Faruzan is a true. She has her own deep understanding of various ruins and machines. If there's a chance, you should talk about them with her. It'll definitely be helpful.
Master, Madame Faruzan's done.
Oh? Let's head over. With any luck, she might have...
I never thought that I'd encounter a restitution module once again after 100 years. Abatui really installed quite a few impressive things. If my guess is correct, this mechanical life form has displayed attempts at self-sustenance before, right? Such as collecting parts.
It used them for something else, but as far as its design goes, it does have a function like that.
I knew it. If I'm not wrong, Karkata's issue lies with its restitution module. Abatui's modified this module extensively, but the core parts and design philosophy are very similar to the principles as I know them. They are all based on principles. The creators of the Ruins machine once tried to create a perpetual mechanism that could replace life or even surpass it. The restitution module is the result of one of their countless attempts. It replicates the behavior of living things to achieve a self-repair function. However, the energy required in maintenance of the module became an issue. For example, a living thing's heart can deliver nutrients and blood to various organs. However, the bigger the living thing, once the heart is damaged, it'll be hard for that living thing to heal itself, and even the function of other organs can be affected. Thus, the attempt wasn't widely adopted. Even 100 years ago, I'd only seen it once before. Oh dear. Based on my current research, I'll need to swap out the damaged parts in the restitution module to repair. But like I just said, the module is rare, even by the standards of ancient machines. Not only that, but finding suitable parts would be like trying to find a single gear in the vast desert, to say nothing of the difficulty in making those parts. One can only wonder.
I might have an idea. Abatui was, for a time, quite passionate about excavating the Great Red.
You mean to say he found a restitution module in the desert?
But the desert's huge. How are we supposed to...
According to the Academia's records, no similar parts have been found in the Great Red Sand over the past 100 years. If we want to try our luck, well...
I do know that a Vahumana researcher formed an expedition team after the sandstorms and earthquakes subsided. They are now
Should we ask them if they've made any new
The chances are slim, but it's at least more effective than running around like headless chickens.
His name is Raid. I think he's stationed at the northeast part of the Hypostyle Desert. Let's...
Oh, you and Kale should probably stay. Karkata's condition may be stable, but besides, you still need to take care of the trouble that the Academia...
Trouble from the Academia? I thought you...
I'll let Kale fill you in on the details.
Ох уж эта маленькая наглая бабулька.
What is this?
Halt! Mr. Raid's permission is required to proceed any further. That still won't do. Mr. Raid told us to keep people away from—
Damage the site? I've excavated more ruins than you visited restaurants. Which batch of students is—
He isn't at the campsite now. You should all leave.
What a stubborn guy. You're right. Even if there is new information, we still have to wait for him to come back so we can ask him about it. I'm going to give that Raid a good talking to when he gets back. Starting from who?
anything. Forget excavation. They won't even.
This area used to be ravaged by frequent sandstorms. They say that this was done by a single traveler.
Don't mind me.
That machine looks amazing. The location seems to fit too.
Well, I found out everything I could. Is there anything that stands out to you? Ruin Wanderer. That's the first time I've heard that name. But that bit's a bit far away, and I can't really say for sure.
Huh? What are you guys doing back here? I wouldn't blame you for not knowing about it, youngsters. It's said that this monster, the Ruin Wanderer, traversed through various ruins for centuries. Some said that it was like a giant, while others said that it was like a beast. However, then, about 10 years ago, we stopped hearing any news about it in Sumeru. You youngsters probably don't know about the Ruin Wanderer nowadays, but it was
Centuries? Impossible. I heard nothing about it back then. It could only have been around for a few decades.
Wait, back then?
Indulge my curiosity for a moment. Why do you think that wreckage?
Well, I had also heard...
You heard that nonsense from the Eremites after they got drunk, right?
Who are you?
Madam Faruzan, it is a pleasure. I'm right. I'd heard of you at the Academia, but I didn't expect to run into you here. And this must be the famous...
Have you found any special contraptions and relics in the ruins that you've been investigating?
I'm ashamed to say that we haven't found anything noteworthy.
Really? That...
I'm afraid those are mere rumors. Really, I sometimes wish that... The wise do not buy into rumors, so it is said. I believe that you...
It is also said that real knowledge shall come from practice. I can help you research the excavated relics, and you can take credit for any new discoveries. I believe that...
in truth, I could ask for nothing. However, you two must be tired after a long journey. It's getting late, and my subordinates and I are heading back to the camp to rest. Why don't you find... There's a tent that the villagers occasionally use to rest. It's a bit simple, yes.
Since you need to rest as well, let's do...
Я сейчас с мадам Фарзан в одной палатке буду спать. Как там Вано сказал. Я не по бабушкам, но...
This is quite far away. Are they trying to prevent the villagers from eavesdropping? Now, I have my suspicions about this archaeological expedition team and that machine, but based on the condition of the armor and joints, it didn't seem like something that had been lying around for centuries. At most, I'd estimate that it only stopped moving about a dozen... Yes, the timing coincides with the spreading of the legend. Now, how do you suppose it was able to maintain a relatively good condition despite high-intensity operation over the course? That's right! Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before. Well, this was over 100 years ago. It was a machine about the same size as Karkata, actually. It couldn't carry heavy objects or fight. It also helped me deliver letters home. I found it near the desert, which is why I wondered if there might be more restitution modules buried around here. Honestly, people in ancient times might have already solved the problem of providing enough power for all I know. I'll need to research this properly. Had I confronted Raid right there and then, he would have said that he couldn't tell that the machine was special. Then he'd just hand it over to the Academia obedient. If the wreckage were to be handed to the Academia, it'd be much tougher for us to do research on it or get spare parts for... Anyway, we should figure out what they're planning before... They insisted that we should stay the night, which means if they're trying to pull a fast one on us, they're likely to try tonight. Are those sounds coming from the excavation site? I knew they wouldn't be able to wait. They must be scared that we might... Not a single person guarding the campsite. I'll see if they left any clues behind at their camp. All right.
А, нет, нам к ним надо подойти.
Why isn't the tent here yet? We need to switch it out tonight.
It's still on the way. I'm afraid this is the first.
You good-for-nothings are just a load of trouble, aren't you? Hurry up and hide our current tent and deliver the new one to me.
Huh? Who's there?
It's me.
I'm sorry. I'm just a bit upset because my subordinates aren't doing their jobs properly. When did you get... it's nothing. Just a tent. We didn't pack up all our tents from the last campsite. Some of them, along with a few... Someone damaged our current
я так понимаю, у меня
so I'm
стрим
trying
упал.
to get my subordinates to get one from that previous campsite delivered here.
У меня упал просто качество ужасно низкое. Ой, как это бесит. А здесь тоже такая же херня. Лагает, да, сильно просто. Ай, господи, ну вот почему именно к вечеру это случилось, а? Ладно, наверное, я остановлю стрим. Все равно сегодня лагает. Давай еще разок перезапущу, если